Bienvenidos al Real Estate Oasis Podcast. Esta semana vamos a estar entrevistando a The Nexo Group y EBS Construction. No te olvides de like, comment and subscribe y conocernos un poquito más. Gracias.
Bienvenidos a nuestro podcast. My name is Maiki Paul. I'm one of the hosts of the Real Estate Oasis podcast, coming to you every week with news about real estate in Puerto Rico. I'm part of Axios Real Estate and Coupled Investments. Zach, want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Zachary Postil with REIA.
Félix Barreras with Lifeafar Capital.
Hey guys, I'm Robbie Crager. I'm with PR Consultants.
My name is Liam Orraca and I'm from Nexo Group.
Carlos Martinez from Nexo Group and EBS Management.
Okay. So guys, great to have you on the podcast. Great to have you on the show. I think you guys are doing very exciting things in Puerto Rico. Obviously, being Puerto Ricans, I think that's awesome. As a Puerto Rican, I feel very proud of you. So, and I just want to get it started by you guys providing us, an introduction and background of how you guys came to be.
Yeah, well, likewise, thank you for having us here. It's very exciting to be part of this podcast. I think it's great. It's a great opportunity to not only talk about opportunities in real estate, but also to get a community together and to promote new ideas and learning experience to others. So we're very grateful to be invited here and have this great time with you guys.
Yeah. As Carlos said, thank you for having us here. We're very excited to share a lot of the opportunities, and you're gonna find out more about us. But it's not only Puerto Rico. Also, we're doing stuff outside of Puerto Rico. So it's really exciting for us to speak about it.
Awesome. Yeah, I know you guys are doing some pretty exciting stuff on the East Coast of the United States. So just to kind of like start it up, how did you guys meet? How did Nexo Group came to be?
Go ahead.
So it started. I guess we can take this back all the way when we had like 3 or 4 years old. We went to elementary school together, middle school, and high school together. Then I went to architecture school. I went to engineering school. So there was a gap of a couple of years there, and but we're always with the idea of doing something and getting started. The first idea that came to us was to start a construction supply. Since we're an architect, he's an engineer, let's do some construction supply company.
Yeah.
Well, every business is about timing, having the product, and having the timing with the opportunity. So we had the product, we had the opportunity, but we didn't have the timing to do the business. We did this when there was a recession and
there wasn't any construction.
There was literally no construction in the island. So the business it was like 3-month business, a very early stage. But it was a great opportunity to start that the chemistry again and to know each other on not only on the personal and friend side, but also as a business partner. And we quickly noticed there was something there that it will continue in the next couple of years. So Liam left to Baltimore.
Yep.
After studying engineering, worked with a big office there, and opportunities started coming in, with deals in Baltimore.
Actually, I still remember that the day that I called Carlos to pick the conversation back up and let's find something to do. I worked with Johns Hopkins. I'm an electrical engineer, so I was doing my master's with them in engineering, and it was one of those homeworks that takes you all night and makes you think about life. And I was like looking at deals while doing my homework, and I just remember picking the phone. Hey Carlos, let's pick this back up. Let's do something. I've seen a lot of opportunity. Let's start the conversation going. And after that, we were just talking every day, trying to find how we're gonna come in a market and find an opportunity.
Yeah.
So fast forward a couple months after that conversation, we thought that having good college background, we will be able to go to the bank, and all of a sudden now we're gonna be huge developers. So we went to the bank, and the bank said, yeah, that's not the way it works, and so that was the first
Broken heart.
Yeah. After that one, I said, well, maybe let's look for investors. That's how everybody does it. You know,
Yeah.
that's how the school, the masters, they explain how it works. So
Right.
let's go look for investors. So pumped. This is a list of our investors. Everybody talks about the friends and family, and I said, that's gonna be pretty easy. Let's go to friends and family. So we went to the first group of investors. This is our idea, and the first question that came was, how many deals have you guys already done? So our answer was no, but I'm an architect, he's an engineer, we know about construction, we're doing a master's in real estate development, we're there, so I guess we'll go handle it. Yeah, you're some pretty nice guy, you have the
drive.
you have the drive to do it, but no thanks. So get yourself a couple deals and then come back.
Yeah.
So that's where the big problem came into the equation. You know, young guys, we had stable work job, but not necessarily as we didn't have the cash flow to do it. So
Yeah.
we got together, we got some credit cards, we bought the first house, single family house, and we literally maxed out all of our credit cards to make it happen. From there, then the rest is just part of the process. We got our first investor, second investor, then we started doing some bigger syndications, and fast forward 4 or 5 years. Now we're launching our first fund, focusing on multifamily or workforce, what we call a small scale workforce multifamily, and also doing some developments here in the island.
Gotcha.
And we have in Condado and we have in Guaynabo multifamily projects. So still learn every day. It's a learning curve. Every day it's something new.
Yeah.
But we're just very proud of how we have been able to grow up. So
Yeah.
It's really great that you guys highlighted how, like, that capital issue, because this we face as a young investor. It's like you're starting out, you have all the faith in yourself and you have the skills, but no capital. And you guys have really bootstrapped it, got together, did your creative financing, and then grew from there. It's really great. So how did you guys structure, like, your fund? Like, how is it structured, and how are you taking advantage of some of the, opportunities here in Puerto Rico to maximize your fund for investors?
Yep. So the fund, it's mainly focused on the East Coast. So the deals that we do in Puerto Rico are individual syndication deals, and we can definitely talk about those further on. But the way that we structure the fund, we have our investors, which come as limited partners, and we are the general partners. We pretty much leverage our experience, all the tax incentives and tax opportunities and deductions for real estate, and we do all the management of all the assets of the fund. The fund itself owns each property that we buy, and the goal is to diversify them into 10, 15 properties between the scale of 15 to 40 units. And we give back the investors a return, preferred return, and also put GP clawback and LP clawbacks that protect the investors and also protect us at the end of the fund. We can go into further details after or later if you guys want to talk about it. But basically, the fund is a general, simple structure to provide passive income with all the real estate advantages to the investors without them having to worry about the day-to-day operations. Additionally, we structured our property management company to operate the fund, providing incentives with more of a social appeal to the fund that also gives other type of benefits to the investors and to the communities that we want to impact.
So yeah, can you guys go into more detail of how specifically you're doing the social impact in the projects that you're doing in the States?
yeah, so I guess I'm gonna answer both questions. It's gonna be a combination of the question. Being creative, you mentioned how we're creative. So we just part of starting a private equity office, a small private equity boutique or whatever name we want to call it. For us, it's a method of it's just a vehicle of getting capital and then distributing in order to get more work done and to buy more properties and stay afloat with the market, competing with big private equity offices like we have top office like Blackstone. You have big hedge funds that also invest. So you got to realize that we have to be more creative in order to stay afloat with,
To compete with them.
compete
to
with
a
them, because
certain
we have to be realistic. We don't have the capital that they have. So
you
we
have to
did
have a differentiator.
Correct.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we basically did two things. The first one is our asset criteria, investment criteria. We noticed that a property between the 2 to 5 to 6 million property value, it's too small for a big fund to invest in it, but also it's too big for an individual investor to approach it as an investment opportunity for them. So it was something that wasn't strategized. It was that basically that's how we enter into the market in Baltimore area. So for this fund, we decided to stay with that investment criteria. It's something that we already know the market. We already know the type of asset. It's a Class C property. And then on the other hand, we developed a property management system that it's called Sociala, which is a social-driven property management approach based on three main things. One, it's property enhancement, which is branded. We want to provide the tenants the opportunity of feel like they're in a Class B or Class C apartment by providing them the amenities that they usually have. For example, if you go to a Class A property, apartment property, you will find storage area. Well, at my properties, we cannot afford of doing big storage facility, but on the basements, we provide them with separate storages that it's something that it's additional. Anyhow, we have the space in the basement, so
It's a value add.
it's a value add for the tenants. That's example. That's on the property enhancement. In addition to the regular property enhancements that we that's usually needed as an investor when you get to a property. Also, what we social lifestyle. It's that basically on Fridays we'll prepare an event. Let's say we usually use this as an example. The first beer is on us on the community bar. Why? We want the tenants to relate with each other, and next time they have a issue because the music is too loud, at 12 they're not gonna call us as a property manager. They're gonna come down and two things are gonna happen: or they're gonna talk about it and finish the issue, or they're gonna have a beer with the neighbor at the property. So that's our mindset. We're just creating this type of values with very small things. This is not something that everybody can do it, and we're promoting everybody to do this kind of things, because at the end it would change the tenant mindset. You have to realize that in Baltimore and in Orlando and Tampa and other places, there's over 50% of people that of the population are renters. So this is something you have to create. There's enough to create a community about the renting lifestyle.
I love that. It's Sociala.
Sociala.
It's brilliant because, and I relate to this because these markets too, so I'm familiar with affordable housing development, community development, and typically the mindset used to be you got to give everyone the basic. It's like these people can't afford this kind of amenities, so you kind of it's always sub-tier, and people feel that like these are human beings living in housing. Like no matter what tenants you have, they feel that. So the fact that you guys are going, finding the creative ways to create amenities, provide that respect and the attention to your tenants, you're going to go pretty far, especially in markets where people haven't been treated that way. So I think that it's like a great value add and differentiator for you all that other larger developers may not be paying attention to.
And the third one on the same line is the discounts. We provide discounts for our tenants. We don't have the best laundry infrastructure on the apartments because it's not cost effective for us on the scale that we are right now. But we can provide discounts on laundries that are around the area.
That's great.
So the same thing with the coffee shops, the same thing with school supply and material. On the back to school, we provide them with a discount for the kids to go and buy their notebooks and their crayons and things like that. So
So you're not only impacting, obviously, like your project, you're also impacting the community and the economics around it.
100%.
The result of it,
Partnering up with different
the result of it, 90% retention from our tenants, which at the end, when we talk about real estate, that's the goal. Have retention in order to reduce operational expenses
Turnover.
and the turnover, because every time that we have a turnover, we have to lease again. We have to do some capex, and at the same time, we provide them with 15%, between 10 and 15% of their operational day-to-day expenses reduction.
What is incredible of this basically this concept is that the mindset of the tenant changes. So you see how it changes from I'm a tenant, I'm just renting from you, and you're the landlord, to this is our property and we're gonna protect it, and we want to protect the lifestyle here. And you feel like you can see how the tenant and you are in the same team, which is something that is really helpful in the long run and to keep that retention and that relationship going.
That's great. Like, it makes business sense. In long-term mindset, you guys are playing the long game.
I think we should definitely touch a little bit more on the. I would like to know a little bit more about your investor base. You know, what projects. I know that in the future you're looking at projects in Tampa, at different projects in different areas. So your investor base, from what I hear, it's mostly Puerto Ricans, right?
Yeah, that's it is. We have seen the need of local investors diversify their investment, and it's something that we have in our mindset. It's not necessarily to look for institutional investors, but look for doctors, lawyers, business owners that they don't have the time to basically focus on their investment. Provide them with our platform, provide them with our investment opportunities, so that basically they'll be able to diversify and be with us, establish a good relationship with them, and maintain that relationship through the process of a fund.
Gotcha.
How we do that? We basically we invested in a software that it's a constant communication with them. They can see their investments, how they're performing. They receive monthly communications. They have their audited statements. They basically are involved as if they were the owners of the property, because in fact, at being as an LP, they're part owner of the property. So we provide them with everything as if they were the operational owner or the manager. But they don't have to deal with the day-to-day of the issues. So it's a great combination. I think it's something that has worked great, and we have received very good feedback, especially for the investors that are not used to this type of investment. It's been great.
Guys, just to know a little bit more about your fund. You're a multi-asset fund?
Yes, right now we're a multi-asset fund.
Okay. And you're raising how much capital right now?
The fund size is a target of $20 million.
$20 million. Okay.
That would allow us to have about $50 million in assets under management using leverage from our networks of banks and other type of debt investors. Our fund has a 7% preferred return. And we use this is fairly regular, and we use an 80-20 split after the preferred return is given to the investors.
Gotcha.
So in terms from us as asset managers, this protects investors from we pretty much don't get any income until the deal does well.
Correct.
So that's the main structure.
Perfect.
We also have a GP clawback and an LP. A GP catch-up and an LP clawback, pretty much to protect investors as well.
Okay.
If we have been received any money and then it doesn't get to the preferred return, that money is returned to the investors.
Gotcha. That's very good.
Pretty much the fund target with $20 million. That's honestly a small private equity fund size. The type of funds that you can see in our markets is $100 million up. So that's the reason why we're looking at maybe 2 markets tops, but there's more targets. There are more target markets that we have seen,
Okay.
but only 2 markets at least in this first fund.
Gotcha.
Coming back to the investor base that we discussed, how what was the relationship, I think we're just being realistic and things and since we're in Puerto Rico looking for investors, we're not looking for institutional capital at this moment for this type of funds. We just want to get that relationship going with an investor group here on the island, kind of educating the locals, because in Puerto Rico it's not common to see this type of private equity offices approach. We decided to be realistic, and instead of doing a $100 million fund, we're just going to be focusing on 20 million, closing the fund, operating the fund, and starting simultaneously, 7 other funds through the process. So we're very straightforward, very transparent with our investors. Some of them have asked why it's such a small fund, how you operate with a small fund. Well, we have other syndications also. It's not just our only source of business. But it's something that we just wanna be able to close it correctly and be able to continue the process with other.
And the way that we see it as well is a family of funds. It's a series of funds. So there's Fund 1, which is the one that we're currently working on. And this allows us not only to get that started, but also to educate more investors here in Puerto Rico and the island about this type of investment opportunity. So there's a lot of investors that we're going on right now. It's the first time they hear it. They see that it's going on. They see that the fund is closing properties, is putting more offers out there, and it's going to allow us. And the way I see it in long term, is going to allow us maybe on the second fund, these type of investors would be more open to the idea of this type of investment that is fairly common in the type of markets that we're participating.
So a lot of people ask, what's the main difference, or why get into a fund when I have people that are doing syndication and they're sponsors, which is perfectly normal, and it's a great vehicle of doing it. Our differentiator is that basically, or the difference between one and the other, we're diversifying and reducing the risk while providing several properties, not just one property.
Gotcha. Are you guys typically buying value add properties, or are you buying already cash flowing?
I'm glad that you asked that question, because it's both.
Both, right?
What we're looking is for value add, but the property needs to be cash flowing. We're not looking for a ground up development or a property that has a 50% occupancy. It has to have some type of occupancy, but there has to be an opportunity to add value, and that's the reason why the scale that we're looking of 15 to 40 units is so powerful, because there's still a lot of owners that are family-owned properties that they've been in the family for years, and they're not optimizing these properties. They're just pass it from the son to the other son, and they're just basically getting the income, but they're not looking optimizing. And that's where we see a very good opportunity.
So we love to buy properties from the owners that usually receive their checks. They put the checks under the door or the closet or something that they have. And people just put their checks. We love those type of properties, because those are the ones that immediately next day our property management team that will come. They will do an onboarding process. They will bring our softwares, payment advantages.
You can go in and change the culture.
Exactly.
And create this ownership you talked about earlier.
And pretty much you can see a difference immediately without really investing any money. And this has happened where residents come back to us and say, wow, like what a difference. Now I don't have to worry about writing a check every month. I just set it up recurrently. That eliminates a lot of stress in my life just by doing that. And we haven't really done much. The structure is already there.
That's awesome. Sounds like a brilliant idea. So
It is. That's awesome. And then I know obviously you guys, the experience that you have in the States, it's fantastic. Going back to Puerto Rico, you guys, I know you guys are doing like on a case by case kind of basis. Sorry, here in Puerto Rico. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, and the experience that we had in that we have having fun in Baltimore and Maryland, it has been great. The same thing we have been here. We're both Puerto Rican. We came from especially Liam, who lives full time in the States. Our mindset always was to come back to Puerto Rico. So we have our family here. It just makes sense to come back to Puerto Rico. So we had two options: or just start doing business here, or to come with any of the tax incentives or opportunities to the island, or the Act 60 or any other. So we decided to do both. We're basically doing the one on the export. We're going to be exporting our Sociala service and property management and asset management through here from Puerto Rico. But also we have identified some opportunities that we're handling as a syndication. We had a part of hospitality that I'm sure in other podcast episodes you already discussed about the hospitality incentives, but we're able to close a deal, be part of a deal on a hospitality project.
Nice. And
now we're getting into development. Since our market is maybe of investor, our group of investors is probably 90%, 95% locals. They also want to see. It gives confidence to them seeing projects here in the island. It's not like we're just putting their capital into a project in Baltimore. They will never go to Baltimore. They don't. It's not like they're going to. If you talk about New York, people may go to New York just on vacation, and they will be able, all of a sudden, this is my building, or this is a property that I'm part of as an investor. But in Baltimore, that doesn't happen. There's no. It is more of a working area, and people just that lives in Baltimore, they work on DC, they work on the government or things like that. So there's no need of vacationing as much. There's no attraction to go on vacation in Baltimore. So we identify that need of having projects here in the island, so that it will give more confidence to our investors. Like, hey, this is an office. This is not just two young guys getting our capital and just using it somewhere that we don't know. We're out of the equation.
Sure.
It's interesting. We've noticed different types of investors. Like as Carlos was saying, like there are investors that they just want to invest their money. They have their own business. They don't have time to be overlooking what's going on. The fund structure works perfect. But there's other investors that want to be more hands-on or want to be able to see what's going on, even though they are not fully involved into the day-to-day, just being there. And that's where the case-by-case or syndication opportunities come in handy.
For sure.
Can you tell us about? You said you had a Guaynabo multifamily, and you have one other that you're working on currently. Can you talk about?
Yeah, we have two multifamily projects, or small-scale projects, between $8 to $12 million in construction for the project. They're right now under permits and pre-development process. Very straightforward projects. We're just looking for opportunities here in the island.
Will they be long-term rent projects or
apartments for sale? Apartments for sale.
Apartments for sale.
Yeah,
like a condo conversion.
Condo conversion. Correct.
Wow.
And once we get to a certain point in the permit process, we'll do a pre-sale. We're not waiting.
So you're building ground up?
Ground up. Both of the cases are ground up.
Okay.
And that's something that I know you asked me one question, but I wanna change into another area. So before talking about our construction side of the company, difference between Baltimore and Puerto Rico, or I will say Maryland in general for now, it's that the difference between the class A, B, and C. Okay? It is for us as a private equity office or as an investors, it is important to understand the market and how a class C, it doesn't compete with a class B or a class A. So we have identified Sociala as an alternative to maximize our investors' returns, but not necessarily compete with a Class B or Class A property. Class C in our market is going to be a Class C property. It's a very old property. It is a property that, although it's nice, we do remodel, we do some work, capex work on the property. It's just going to stay as a Class C. Puerto Rico market, it's a different ballgame. Why we don't rent? Straightforward. In our model, on a Class C property, the number doesn't make sense to have it under a fund. So we will have to look for commercial, or we have to look for hospitality as a fund structure, or as a distribution to get the right returns. Nevertheless, there are other markets in Puerto Rico, like you have hospitality, it's one, but also you have high-end, that if you're in a good location, it does make sense to do those type of returns. So that's why in Puerto Rico, we're just doing apartments, deal by deal, and it's going to be high-end apartments.
Okay. That's
Interesting. Great.
They don't compete class C. It's just a different scenario, completely opposite. And that's why it's deal by deal, because we don't want to over diversify, and then all of a sudden we just have 20 projects with different type of of structure.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have the construction management as well.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that and some of the opportunities and challenges in the construction industry?
So EBS management, it's construction, our construction side, or we're part of a construction management office, which basically it's a second generation. Throughout the past 20-30 years, I have worked big projects here in the island, and for us, it gives us a good opportunity to not only provide a service that is related, it's directly related to our development side, Nexo development side, but also to understand another scale of projects. This, for example, recent project was a full renovation of the Embassy Suites. We have done Condado Plaza. We're talking about 50, 60, $70 million constructions projects. So it's a different scale. It shows our investor, it gives credibility to investor, because although it's not our capital, we're in that type of project. And also it gives us the opportunity to understand that the same issues that we have at the small scale are exactly the same issue that on a big scale project there is. So there's no difference.
Yeah.
All the way from financing, and now the new the recent problems that we have: shortage of labor, we have material cost increase. The same wood increase, the 205% increase, is the same one for the hedge funds, big hedge from New York, big hedge funds.
Yeah.
It's the same one that we're having on our small scale developments. That's why we cannot do affordable housing right now here, because the cost of construction is way higher. It's not cost effective for us as an investment vehicle. So definitely it's a separate company, but we're very, very well related, and we manage specifically hospitality side through the EBS management and Eco Building Solution.
So does Eco Building Solutions also do your smaller developments as well, or do they focus on? Do you have a separate like GC to do your smaller like condo conversions? And
they will be part of it. It's just it will depend basically on the on how the office, how many projects we have on the office, and what's the approach that we're going to be taking on the project. There are some that we're just, if we buy a property here, a distressed property, maybe it's too small for the for EBS, but if it's a full renovation, EBS will take care of it.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. But otherwise, do you guys do your own GCing as well? If they, if EBS isn't an option?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
It's
really a scale question on the project.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So on those developments that you're doing, the luxury condos here in Puerto Rico, that's gonna be done by EBS then?
It is one of the options that we have right now.
Okay.
And we're considering just using our own team, unless the construction management team has a project. We get a big project, then maybe in order to provide a better service or overstretch our construction management company, then we would just consider using another GC.
What kind of price point do you expect your condos to sell for?
You want to talk about it?
Yeah. So the one that is in the Miramar area, that condo, it's a high-end luxury market. So we're looking about 150 per square foot to sell.
Okay.
In terms of the condo in Guaynabo,
850 per square feet.
850 per square feet. Yeah.
In Guaynabo or Miramar?
No, in Miramar.
I was going to say 150 a square
No.
foot. You guys must be building at $70 a square foot, and that would be amazing.
No.
850.
Okay.
850.
850 a square foot.
I also heard 150, but that's why I said
850 for the one in Miramar. Yeah. For the one in Guaynabo, honestly, I don't have the latest numbers. That's something that we're still in the planning process for the project.
Miramar project already has more of the design phase,
Yeah.
so that's why we can talk about number.
It's further ahead, and it might change, but it's gonna be 6 apartments, luxury apartments, overlooking the lagoon. So it has a lot of potential to sell at a pretty high.
I'm really excited to hear about this. I prescribe to a 5-year cycle of hurricane recovery, and the last stage of that is what you guys would then be doing, this ground up construction. So to hear it actually being in effect, and it puts it right in line with where we should be after Maria. So it's awesome. Congratulations, and I'm glad. And I talk about it a lot. I look forward to the day that the skyline's going to be kind of covered with cranes everywhere. This massive.
I'm looking the same thing on both sides, on the construction side and on the development side.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's just for me, that's affirming, decisions that I've made.
It is. Listen, it is a great island with great opportunities. It's just a matter of getting this type of initiative out there, and getting people together, and at the end, we're not here so that people invest in our fund. We're just here to have more people do what we're doing. We're just two young guys that tried themselves. There are people out there that have many more properties that we have. There's and great for them, and we're just here another vehicle of investment, another vehicle of inspiration, I guess, if we can call it that way, for other people to do the same thing.
Yeah,
Nothing that we're not doing anything that other people cannot do. We're just doing it.
You're doing it. That's right.
Awesome. How can people find you?
Our website is the Nexo Group.com, or our personal email cmartinez at thenexogroup.com.
And lian.orraca at thenexogroup.com.
We'll of course link it
Put
at the
that-
bottom.
Yep. And the website has the contact us, so we're always looking at that and happy to talk with people.
Have you guys thought of bringing back your company that you talked about earlier, where you were sourcing building materials and things like that for people? Is that something that we could encourage you to do?
Well, great question. Short answer is no. The long answer is that having a construction management office, part of this, we already do it as a service or as a differentiator, having an office in Florida. Our construction management office is Florida and Puerto Rico. So we already provide this type of services of doing a procurement of the best way possible to our clients. So at the end, if it had to come from Florida, or we just buy it here, or we have to bring labor from Florida from our office over there or something, we already do this type of things.
Great.
Not as a company or distribution company, but it is something, and also there's a lot of local vendors that we just want to build the relationship with them.
Yeah.
So it just, for us at this point, at the scale that we are, we just prefer to create this type of relationship here locally.
Yeah.
Which at the end, if there's not this type of relationship, it's going to be affecting our investments. When we talk about a 200% increase in wood, 45% increase in steel, 40% I believe it was last month on concrete.
Wow.
Well, it's something that the local vendors also have the same issue.
Everybody.
It's not us. It's just everybody has the same thing. So I believe it's just a matter of building this type of relationship. We're focused on our side, that is an investment, and construction management as a service for other clients or investors.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure. Okay. Thanks.
Well, yeah, and Carlos, it was amazing having you guys doing pretty exciting stuff here in Puerto Rico. And I think all of us cannot wait to see the type of stuff that you're gonna do in the future. I think you guys are gonna do great stuff, and yeah, again, as a Puerto Rican, very proud of you, and I hope for the best.
Thanks.
So thanks for joining the podcast. Please like and subscribe, and if you want to learn more about Liam and Carlos, feel free to go on the links below and find more information there. Thank you. Gracias por ver nuestro podcast, espero que les haya gustado. No te olvides de dar like, comment y subscribe a nuestro video. Muchas gracias.